Reading. Did you happen to get the live pop-up link? It's now streaming live on Facebook. Yes, we are. Hey, everybody. We are back at it again, me and Jackie O from For Your Mind Productions. We are here today to continue this conversation on healing. We're just going to give ourselves a few minutes. We thank you for joining us. Hey, Ronnie, Rome, and is it Takia for joining us? We see y'all. Please don't hesitate to let us know where you're calling from or where you're coming in to the room with us, where you guys are located. Let us know that you're here with us. Feel free to participate. All right, Jackie. Well, I just want to first and foremost say I'm excited to be back in the throne room with Jackie O. It has been a while. There has been a lot of things happening for RMN, and I am excited about the things that God is doing and where God is taking us. We have been on some adventures over the last couple of weeks. And so as we continue to prepare our conversation around the healing challenge, I want to welcome those of you who have not been inside of the throne room before. I want to welcome you to the throne room, which is the place that we have created so that we can purge from our issues, heal from our wounds, and find rest so that we can transform into that which we have been called to become, and that is, of course, royalty. In the throne room, where we take the cover off. If you don't know, we are going to get down into the business where we are curious about our issues and all the things that's going on in life. We're going to ask questions. We ask you to ask questions. We're going to keep an open mind because our views are not the views of everyone else. And we are going to be vulnerable in our conversation. We're going to open ourselves up to new things and new experiences. We're going to be transparent in ways that we haven't been transparent before. And while we have these conversations, we're going to show empathy towards one another. And most importantly, we are going to respect the process. So we respect each other. We respect everything that goes on in here. Your view doesn't have to be my view, but we respect each other in that we look at our humaneness as something we uphold, right? Because all of us have issues. All of us come to the table with things in which we aren't proud of, but that doesn't make us less than. That actually shows us that we are working. We are a work in progress and process, right? And that is the reason for the throne room. We thank you again for joining us. Jackie, how are you feeling today?
Feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Good.
How are you feeling today?
I feel heavy.
You feel heavy?
Yeah, I feel heavy, but I'm feeling hopeful, right?
Okay.
I feel heavy, but I'm hopeful. There are a lot of things that are going on around us. There's a lot of things that, you know, as I deal with this healing process, remember, I'm taking this healing journey too, right? So I'm challenging people as I challenge myself to take this journey. And there are times in which it can seem heavy. It can seem sort of like, God, why? And I want to give up, I want to give in, and I want to go back to the old me, right? Or the old way of things, that which was comfortable, even though it might have been toxic or it might not have been the best for me. I sometimes want to revert back to that. But again, I am hopeful that God continues to give us strength to continue to press through. So I'm excited. I know you better be excited. It's time. We haven't been here for a couple of weeks now. We've been MIA for the people.
We've been MIA, but that does not mean we've not been working. We've not been serving.
Right.
A lot has transpired and taken place since our last.
Most definitely has.
And it's a good thing that we haven't been here, because that means we're productive. But I was thinking, as you were just talking about, what's been transpiring and the healing process, the healing journey. We've been in communication all week with families. It feels like it's Friday, but it's only Wednesday, right? And to hear the stories of the need for healing, to hear the stories of people that are ready to move forward in life, and it's a bit much, and it can be heavy. You're right, it can be heavy. But we're here and we're gonna do it, right? We're gonna make sure that we have this conversation. We take this opportunity to take the covers off, be open, share about our journey, what's been transpiring. And you know what? We may have some eye-opening moments. We may have that aha moment.
Well, amen to that. I look forward to moments like that where we have the aha moments, right? Yes. Where we can find revelation, because we know that in the aha moment and the revelation, we get that much closer to the prize, right? To that which we are supposed to be, to the healing. And it's funny that you talk about seeing other people healing, talking about healing. I need healing, and the struggle that they're having with healing. I've been encountering a lot of friends and people. When I look out on the social media and things like that, I see a lot of people talking about healing.
Everybody's talking about healing.
Yeah.
The nation as a whole is in the healing now. Our new president is in place, and we can forget about these past 4 years and move forward in healing as a nation. And one thing I do want to share, and maybe this would be the talk of the start of our talk today. When you look at where we are as a country, the United States of America, where we are as a people, the African American people of my community, everything that is transpiring right now, there's several different lenses we can look at it through.
Absolutely.
However, when we look at it as a people, we look at how resilient we were and how resilient we are as a people, and how the healing process. You said something in one of our calls, in one of our conversations, where you talked about the pain of healing. And we look at our people as a people, we've endured pain. We've endured a lot historically. A quote just came to mind, and somebody said to me, a great woman of wisdom said to me, if it's hysterical, it's historical. And when you look at where we are as a country, it's hysterical. It's nothing new. It's historical. It's been happening for a long time. Some of us are just waking up to it.
Right.
Some of us were awoke all the time, and some of us have been awakened. But when we go to the pain of healing, and this is something that we should just look at. When you go through the healing process, even in getting fit and getting in shape, at that first sign of pain, the first thing we do is holler, ouch. Like,
I'm in pain. Oh no, let me stop. I gotta let my body rest for a minute.
My back. I got a cramp in my leg. Oh, I can't go up these stairs. But when we look at pain and healing, you can't have healing without pain.
Right.
You can't get well without feeling. there's always a ramification of your actions, of the consequences and all of that. You will feel the pain, even when you look at things that happen over the lifespan. Sometimes you want to go ahead and move forward, but there's some things, even things that happen to us innocently, there's some things that we have to, one, get an understanding of before we move forward, so we don't, like how they say, hurt people.
Right.
Before we move forward in the healing process, to make sure that, one, you understand,
right,
and you can see, okay, this happened here. When you learn the lessons unlearned and lessons repeated.
Yeah.
When you feel the pain of a thing, it reminds you. The sting of the pain reminds you, right? So when you look at a kid that falls down and scrapes their knee, at first they don't feel it, but when they feel it and they go that first get ready to cry, we say, they're like, don't you cry.
That's it.
You know, and I think about the injustice as a child. I remember getting beatings and saying, you beat me and you're telling me don't cry. And I'm like, hold up, you're doing it. You're hurting my,
right?
My physical body is going through hurt, and you're telling me don't cry.
But I got even one better though. It's not just about the physical body. Remember, they say, I ain't even touch you yet. It's just the thought of the pain and what we have to endure that makes us scared.
Brace yourself.
Right.
You're fearful because you don't know. And you know what? Sometimes the pain is not as bad as we think it is.
Right.
We have more perceived pain than we have actual pain. And in the healing process, when you look at molestation, when you look at rape, sexual assault, that can have a lifelong lasting ramifications, right?
Right.
But when you look at somebody that fall down and scrape their leg, it's a totally different pain. Oh, they say pain is pain. There's different depths and levels of pain. When you're healing, like when I went through the healing process, it was painful trying to walk after having, staples, stitches in your leg. But you know what? You have to do it. Right. Pain and all, you have to do it. You have to get back up. You have to get back in 1 foot down. And if some things you have to learn all over again.
Yeah, right? I'm going to break that down just a little bit more than what we just said, right? I want to take it all the way back to when you had talked about them scraping their knee, and you were talking about the pain is pain. There are different levels and feelings of pain. Everyone feels pain differently for different things. But the thing is that in each pain, there's a scar that's left, right? In each of those things, we encounter in the healing process a scar. But the thing is sometimes we take the bandage or the staple off prematurely, and although it's a scar there, it hasn't healed up the way it should have. So the wound reopens, right? Or we see some abnormalities in the healing. And so not only is there a scab or a scar, but there's also an abnormality where there's like a little hole somewhere, right? I think about when I bust my chin open or my eye, like right here. There's still, if you look a little close, it wasn't all the way stitched up. There's like a little bump here. There's an abnormality there. And to me, this is so important because a lot of us really take for granted the healing process, right? We don't see the need for why the healing process is so important. And we don't want to sit in it. We want it to go by really quick and for us to get over it really quick so we can move on to the next thing, not knowing that because we have done ourselves an injustice, when we get to the next thing, we aren't necessarily ready for it. And I think that that is something that I've been holding on to for quite some time now, is trying to flesh out this process of when am I really heal? What is it that I'm doing right now to ensure that I'm embracing it? And when do I recognize that my healing has actually happened? I think a lot of people have that question. How do I know that I've been healed? And how do I sit with the pain? How long am I supposed to sit with the pain? What am I supposed to do in the pain that I'm feeling? How do I handle those things? I think those are all questions that people really have as they're working through their issues, as they're working through their pain, that essentially are never really addressed. And when we talk about therapeutic practices and different things like that, a lot of it has been bandaged. A lot of it has just been covered up. It's just something that we do in order to move on to the next thing. And I think that it's important for us to have that discussion. But before we continue, I just want to thank those of you who have joined us again. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome to the throne. Please like and share. Like and share. We want this message of healing. We want this healing challenge to reach the masses. We want everybody to be healed, because once we receive our healing and we learn how to walk in it, that is when we can become the great nation in which we have been created to be. So we want to thank you first and foremost for that. Jackie, did you want to pick up where we just left off with all those things concerning our healing process?
I was thinking about what you just said about the scar, the scab. When we look at God has created the human body in such a spectacular way, the body's ability to heal itself, to replenish. So when you said something about a scab, I remember when we were kids, we used to pick our scabs. Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand healing from the inside out until I picked a scab that was deeper than I expected it to be, right? So some things that happen to us, our wounds are deeper than we expected it, right? And some things are surface wounds. Either way, we're affected by it. So when I looked at the body's ability to regenerate scar tissues, fibers, to heal itself, and you pick it before it's ready, you think you're picking here, but you felt it here. And how the pain of the healing, you thought you were ready. You thought it was ready because the scab was, full scab. And I used to laugh because I used to let my scab fall off. That's how I wasn't going through the pains. I didn't like, I didn't like pain. So when I think about healing and pain, they're one and the same. You can't have one without the other. They're things that take place for the body, for the mind. And when you look at the studies, when the skin replenishes and the tissues and stuff come back, there's something different about where the scar is than everything around it. Yeah. The texture is different. It feels different. And most times it's stronger. So when we look at the healing process, we don't like the hurt. We don't like that sting, that stench, but oftentimes we need it.
Right. It's not often, it's all the time that we need it, right?
Yes, we definitely need it. Pain, nobody likes pain. Not that I know my box is full. But
people sending you messages. It's all right. Tell them to come into the third row. Tell them to come over.
But when we think of pain and healing, there is no set time.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're exposed to different elements and you don't know what element or what is contributing. Like they say, make sure you get sunlight. You need the element of the light. But you also need to stay moist. The wound care needs to stay moist, and the water. You think of the sun, moon, stars, water, right? There are certain things that you have to be exposed to that helps you to heal.
Right.
There's certain,
or you don't be exposed to, right? So some things that you aren't
out of that environment. You're right.
Right. Because it can counteract and it can take away from the healing process. So I'm with you on that. And I also think that it is important to understand, from my perspective, that for me, the pain is the breakthrough to the healing, right? It is the thing in which we feel like, and I know a lot of people have that saying of God doesn't give us more than we can bear, right? God does. give us things in which is to break us so that we can be birthed into the new thing. There's nothing in the Bible that says that God doesn't give us more than we can bear, but he does say that the scripture says that though he will be with us always. And I think that this is a really important thing for us to really understand and uncover, because in the healing process, as we take this journey towards our healing and we're embracing the first initial onsets of the pain, and I keep saying the first initial onsets of pain, but really we have been enduring little pains all the way along until we come to that breaking point where something big happens. And then when something big happens, that transition moment occurs, that's when it feels like, oh, it's gut wrenching. It's all there. I'm going to fall apart. I can't handle it. And I think that's where we need to learn how to embrace what it is about the pain of letting something go. Right? I think about me, I think about relationships, I think about my children and certain things that they do. And I think about all of the pains that I have incurred along the way. And a lot of my pain had to deal with my inability to really let go of something, because I was hoping, I was wishing, I was dreaming, I wanted something to happen in a way that was going to work in my favor, right? It was going to be me. So even though God might have a plan for me, I wanted God's plan to be in alignment with my plan, right? And my plan was that I was going to be in this relationship forever, and we were going to have these kids, and when this thing was going to unfold like this, and we were going to build together, or my children were going to be this way, and they were going to all go and be these successful individuals who pursued this type of thing. I had all these hopes and dreams. I had all these plans. I had my own list of things. But yet, when it came down to it, it didn't happen that way, or in the way in which I wanted it to. And so it almost felt that my hope was lost, right? I felt hopeless. I felt alone. I felt mistreated. I felt abandoned and misused. I felt disgruntled. Like all of these feelings and emotions came up out of me not getting essentially what I wanted, right? And what I thought was most important. But as I continue to learn in this process, I'm learning that in the letting go, the ability to have faith, right? That to trust in something that I have yet to see, knowing that if God says that God has a plan for me to prosper, right? To increase me, to a plan that is good for me, I have to trust without knowing that God is going to follow through on that thing in which God has said is available and I've already have out there for me. I just got to be able to trust that process. I think about us, oxygen, right? We breathe oxygen all the time, all day, every day. We need it in order to live. But we don't think about what does oxygen look like. We're not breaking it down to its every molecule. We're not saying, well, I don't want oxygen. I just want the carbon monoxide, right? Like, I just want that. We're not picking and choosing. We're taking it for what it is, because that's what God has created us to take in order to breathe. And we're trusting the process, the earthly, divine process, right? We are growing and knowing. We don't even think about it. Right? It's almost like it's second nature. And what we need to do in our healing process, in our healing journey, is to make this trust in God and what God has said to be true to us, to really believe that that's true. Right? We got to really take that into a place where we're saying, God, you know what? Despite the fact that I'm hurting, I'm in pain, I'm in agony, like someone ripped my heart out, right?
Or you in so much pain, you can't say a word. All you can say is, yes. You can't utter words. You have no, there is no enunciation for the word that aligns with what you're feeling. And that's sometimes where most of us are. We don't have the words, but we're in pain. we're hurting. We're at a place to where we want somebody to hear us, but we're not saying nothing, because if you can hear my sounds, if you can hear the words that line with the sounds of what I'm feeling or what I'm going through, the situation that I'm carrying, the journey that I'm on, the road that I'm on, I say, you don't know what people are going through because they wear a smile on their face. We've learned how to wear a smile on our face.
Cover it up, put the mask on.
Inside.
The identity crisis.
Torn into shreds on the inside, but a smile on our face, and all we're uttering are sounds because the pain is so intense. And then when you get over one thing, here comes another, and then here comes another, and it's like in boxing when they just doing body blows, and it's like, stop. Can you just make it stop? And sometimes that's all we really want. We want, how you say, make it stop.
Yeah.
Make it stop. Yeah. But it's not that simple. No. It's not that easy. It's more complex than we give it credit, because some things are self-inflicted, some things aren't. I can deal with something, a situation I put myself in, I could tough it out. I could deal with it. I could deal with whatever pain comes with it, whatever comes with it. But there's some things that are unexpected.
Right.
There's some things that you try to prevent, but the pain still comes.
Tell us about some things that might be unexpected.
At a young age, I didn't expect to move out. Although at a certain age, we all plan on moving out on our own, growing up, in life. But at a young age, I personally didn't expect to leave my mother's house and set up shop in my own at the age that I did.
Yeah.
But circumstances, and to this day, I laugh. I look back at it now and laugh, but when it happened, I cried. I mean, I was on a corner like, it can't be so. But the pain of the disconnect, the pain of the rejection, the pain of the push, the pain of the hurt, all of that is what I really like. Yo, did she just do that to me? The pain of the thing was more intense. It was more than the actual thing itself, but what it led me to was like, okay, you get out early, you get your apartment early. It was okay after. But while I was in the thing, I didn't understand that the pain of it was so overwhelming. I was just like, no, everybody I talked to, and they were like, yo, you need to, and this is what we have to see. We talked to maybe 5 people in our circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we say one thing to this one thing to this one, but we don't realize what I call it verbal discharge, right?
Mm-hmm.
What instead of just dealing with and healing and dealing with the pain or dealing with what's hurting us, right? We going dump, and then we think we're okay, and then when it resurfaces, it's like it caught us off guard. Where we never healed. We never went through the healing process of a thing. We just talked about it. We just released. I didn't say there's a difference in release and relief.
There's
a difference, right?
Yeah.
So we get the relief. We good with the relief, but that does not mean we're healed.
Right.
That does not mean the process is over. We feel better, right? But it's not over.
Temporarily, right? We feel better temporarily. It's
temporarily.
Right. And that's the thing, right? When I heard you say, I left, but I wasn't expecting to have to leave. When I look back on it and I think about the things that I have experienced too, the unexpected things, the things that a lot of people deal with and that carry into their adulthood. And we spoke a little bit about molestation and abuse, verbal, physical, whatever that is, emotional abuse that we endured from parents and family members and people in our schools and things like that. A lot of us are still carrying the pain of those things into the now. And one of the things that's so that I have just recently acknowledged is that a lot of the things that I have accomplished and me saying, oh, I'm going to put my head down and go get that bag, that I was really doing that out of the hurt and the pain in which I had experienced. So the motivating factor behind who I had become really was out of pain, right? It wasn't out of me just saying, hey, I'm gonna go get her, I'm gonna go get it, and I'm gonna do this because this is my divine purpose, this is my divine calling. It was because I had been instructed and geared through the hurt and the pain and the rejection that I had experienced as a young child, all the way up into my adulthood, even through that, right? Even and I had just begun to learn how to deal with that. And so I'm going to encourage people out who are listening today. And again, if you have questions, if you want to put input into something, we encourage you to do so. Put it out there. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about
ask questions, right?
Let's open the chat, open the comments up. Put your questions in, because a lot of people want relief.
Right.
A lot of people want relief. And everybody wants to let, as soon as we feel something hot, we drop it, you know?
Right.
As soon as something gets too hard, we let go. But we never think about in healing, the learning process. What is it that we learn? What is it that we retrain our brains, right? How is it that we go through these situations time and time again and haven't learned a lesson from the first time we've been through it, right? So I learn, you know, I say this all the time, I learn from other people's experience. You know, I have no children and I don't want the labor, the childbirth and all of that. I don't want the pain of that. I never do. Nah, y'all can keep it. However, I've raised, oh my God,
yes,
armies of kids, and I'm still going through the other processes. And I say this to parents all the time, like, when do you as a parent, right? When do you as a mother stop trying to keep your kids from going through pain? Oh, I don't want my child.
Come on, will you say that again?
And I had this conversation yesterday with a parent, and you know, child 30-something years old, you would have thought the child was 8-9 years old by the description I was given. So, you know, we all always try to avoid pain. But you know what? One thing that's rest assured, where there's healing, there's going to be pain.
Right.
And I was laughing because I was doing some research on the study of pain, right? And the crazy thing is,
talk about it.
Your body needs pain
to regenerate, right?
Yes. Pain is like a trigger. It triggers certain systems in your body to go off. It's like, if your body did not feel the pain of a thing, would the part of the body that's geared at reparation kick in? Right. So we get in pain and we get heartbreak. You know, you love somebody, they break your heart, you crying, you boo-hooing for a couple of days, and you want it to stop. I know the heartache of love. Right. You want it to stop, right? But if it stops, the processes that's supposed to take place to help you learn how to love, right, cannot take place if the pain stops. So the pain is a trigger for other things that happen that we have to have, that our body needs, our minds need. And the sad thing about it, when I looked at how every cell in your body responds to pain, I was just like, so if we were never in pain, could we say honestly that our body can heal? Right. Right. When I looked at the scars on my legs, I had 32 staples in one leg, 33 staples in the other. That was painful. Yeah. Right? But you know what? I say this all the time. One, I'm glad I can feel my legs now, right? But two, my legs are in a way stronger now than they were before I had to get the reconstructive surgery. So I could do some things now and depend on my legs that I couldn't before. So if you embrace the pain as the lesson, you will learn more and know more than you knew before. Yeah. So if you embrace the pain of letting go, one, you realize how relational you are, because you're gonna be generating another relationship.
Right.
But then you're gonna realize how strong you are. Look at what you've been carrying. And I tell people this all the time. We are resilient. Although we complain, we carry a lot.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We didn't even realize that we needed healing from half the stuff we were carrying until we let it go. It was like, dang, I feel better.
That's it. Yeah.
I feel good. Like, yeah, I should have cut my sister off 6 years ago. Or I should have made him move out. But you don't do, until you realize, right? Let it go. When you let it go, you wished you had let it go a long time ago, right? Or when you let it go, you say, dang, that's what it is. I was losing sleep over that. You start sleeping better. Your skin start getting clearer, and your countenance is better. And you're like, dang. But if you had held on and kept holding on, you were weighing yourself down. You were doing more damage to yourself by not letting go, thinking you were holding on because you couldn't deal with the pain of breaking up. Like, yo, how can we do this to ourselves?
Yeah, that's something that's really powerful, right? That letting go piece. And it is, and I'll say it again, it is so hard to do. Again, be patient with yourself in that process, right? And it might take you many attempts to let go, right? It might take you some real like, oh, gut wrencher, I need support, a support system to let go of this thing, because you might be addicted to it. And I know people were like, how are you going to be addicted to relationships? How are you going to be addicted? Yes, because the thing in which you are struggling to overcome, if you find yourself can't eat, can't sleep, depressed, worried about what they're doing, trying to search through phones, trying to search through all kinds of things to figure out what they're doing. Are they living life without me? Your life stops because of that. Then you are addicted.
You're consumed by it.
Right. It has overtaken your life in a way in which you cannot function at normal capacity. I don't like the word normal, but we're going to use it in this context and say, to that point or that extent that you were created to function and perform at. If it's causing you to lose sleep, then you are not getting the rest that you need. And it then affects your work, your ability to work, your ability to parent, your ability to think rationally. You become irritable. So all of these things happen within the body when you refuse to let go. And letting go is often a sign whether or not you have matured. So I'm going to bring in the other word that God had given me for this year, right? So the thing and thought about maturity. So as we grow in our healing process, we become wiser. And in our wisdom, we become more mature. Now, here's the thing about maturity and healing in the pain, right? And the breakthrough of the pain. When the pain happens, we can either stay there and run from the pain and not let go of it and go back to that which was comfortable and stay immature, or we have the opportunity to embrace it with it, trust that God's going to see us through it, let the thing, allow ourselves to let it go, be kind to ourselves in the process, not beat ourselves out of what God has for us, allow us to be able to work through it and then see ourselves to the other side so that we can see the next new thing that God has for us, right? And then we recognize when we get to the new thing, it seems like, dang, I couldn't, like you said before, I couldn't let this thing go. Look at what was over here. We forget about the pain that happened in that process because we are gloating and glorifying the new space that we're in. But the other thing about the maturity, the wisdom piece is that as we move on and we grow, when we encounter that thing, whether or not it looks the same, we will know that the underlying of it ain't right. And it's not for us because it carries the same pain that came before us. But that comes with maturity. That comes with us letting go. That comes with us being kind to ourselves and letting us go through the length of the process, the magnitude of the pain, so that we can get to the other end. It's a lot that we're talking about here today.
Yes, you can't
but
punk
it's
out on the
necessary.
pain. You can't punk out. I like when you just said sit with it. When the pandemic first started, and I shared this, I did a video to encourage some people. We were looking at the different things that were transpiring and trying to encourage and motivate people to not give up and hold on and hang in there. And I was talking about sitting in my feelings, right? So I was sharing with sitting in my feelings, because I'm one of those people that, I want to go, I'm going, I'm doing. And I oftentimes don't have time to feel. So when the pandemic happened, in 7 weeks, I lost 7 people. I really, it caught me, it really did a toll on my mental and my emotional. And I really allowed myself to sit in the feeling, because I wanted to go through emotion and not abort it. I normally don't feel, I don't allow myself to go through pain or to sit in pain. And I really had to, embrace what I was feeling, embrace the loss. And I really, when I say sit in your feelings, a lot of people say, what do you mean when you say sit in your feelings? Don't be quick to get busy and start moving so you're not feeling. No. I had to really go through, what am I feeling? And think about, I lost 7 people close to me, family and close friends, in 7 weeks. I had to really embrace what was it I was feeling. I was not just feeling the loss, but I was facing my own mortality, right? It was a place where I had to face death. Like, yeah, you at that age where, back in the day, kids and young people didn't die, but now everybody dying. You face your own death, you face your own mortality, and you face the fact that, hey, there's something out here that they don't have a handle of. So I had all of this going on. Normally I would have just said, whoosh, and push those feelings to the side, but I had to really embrace and allow myself to feel and address each feeling. So as this pandemic went on, I was able to keep myself calm, right? And calm those around me that were going through similar things. People are like, how are you so strong? It wasn't that I was strong. It was that I allowed myself to go through this process of grief, loss, uncertainty, crisis, and I allowed myself to feel. And in feeling, I was able to strategize, right? Create a plan, not just for me, family, and friends, so we all could stay safe and be in our feelings, a community of connection for us to talk. But if I didn't sit in those feelings, I wasn't quick to say, let's get numb. We quick to numb ourselves. We quick to medicate ourselves. With whatever our choice of medication is. And it's not just a liquid form. There's other forms of medication that we do in our community, right? We're quick to numb ourselves and not allow ourselves to feel. But when you sit in the feeling, you mature, because you learn not to, naturally that fight, flight, or flee thing that we do, right? But when you learn to sit in your feelings, one, you realize, like, wow, what's this I'm feeling? You learn more about yourself. Right? You learn more about your own abilities. You learn more about your own character.
Yeah. That's
when
good.
You sit in your feelings. Sometimes you don't need nobody to tell you you made a stupid decision. I know
I did. Right.
Right?
You told me about how I messed up. I know I messed up.
Yeah, yes. I know I'll be the first one to say, dang, I did it.
What people do?
I tell you to slap me in the back of the neck or slap me in the head, right? We have to learn to sit in our feelings.
Right.
That's where growth and maturity and strength, that's where true strength come from. The ability to sit in your feelings and move forward. Why? Wow. Don't abort it. While the process is taking place. While you're still learning yourself, while you're still healing, and then your lens change after you've been healed, like you said. The lens in which you see things, your perspective is different. So allowing yourself to sit in the feeling, hey, Now, I ain't saying go crazy sitting in the feeling, but there's sometimes you gotta say, okay.
Right. I was going to address that because there are some people, you know, you hear people all the time be like, oh, you in your feelings, you whatever, you acting off your emotions. Right. We don't want you to act off your emotions, but we want you to embrace the feeling that you have and validate it. So if you're feeling grief, right, you're right, own that thing, right? Accept it and say, yeah, I'm hurt by this thing and I'm feeling grief, right?
My heart. Yeah.
It's good to say that, but we don't have to allow ourselves to wallow in it and feel sorry for ourselves. That's not what it's about. It's about embracing it. And I know that there are some people who are not going to like what I said, especially clinical physicians or clinical psychologists, I'll say it that way. But this is a part of the issue with us going to counseling and therapy. Please note that going to counseling and therapy is essential for people, period, right? This is what I think. I think that is something that you should seek out if there is some type of things that you're going through. However, it is not the only thing, right? There are points in times where we sit in our clinical therapist office, right? And we relive tragic moments and we reoccur and rehash those feelings of trauma and fear. And we then begin to figure out, wait, oh my gosh, the anxiety comes back, and that's not necessarily helpful to the healing process, right? We don't always have to tell our story in order for us to heal, right? There are ways in which we can heal without having to rehash and relive the tragic events that have happened to us in our lives, right? And so I want us to begin to think about healthy ways in which we can overcome and then be able to move forward without re-traumatizing and re-damaging ourselves. So counseling is a great framework. It gives us insights into who we are and some of the things that trigger us, some of the thought process about the ways in which we do things that we might not normally see about ourselves, but it might not be the end all be all, right? And so we need to then take personal acceptance and accountability about the next stages in which we need to take through this healing process. I'm looking at some of our comments in our live feed, and Jessica, thank you for sharing the scripture from James, right, about God only making us stronger through our trials. And we in our journey group, we talked about life being a test, about test and trust. So God giving tests, right? And us being able to trust that God is going to see us through and trust in our own selves that we can get to the other side, right? And that tests are going to be there to help build us up and see us to the next stage of where we are supposed to be. Knowing exactly what you said, that God will see us through. And Manny, you had said something about the fear, right? You talked about the fear is the most effective tool for control. And a lot of our fear is ingrown, right? Because it again has to do, I talk about that fear and faith connection, right? It's about us not wanting to trust the unknown, that thing which is unknown to us. But we have to be willing to be vulnerable, to put ourselves out there. And I know we say, well, I was vulnerable. That's how I ended up in this situation, because I would let him get in, or I let her get close to me and I shouldn't. So now I got to be a real live, you know what we be saying. But that's a different type of vulnerability, because God did tell us to guard our heart. But there's also the testing part, right? There's the maturity piece, because maybe we needed to experience this thing in order for us to get to the next thing, so that we could walk to the place in which we needed to be, right? Because life isn't just about us. It's about others. And so maybe in the next place that we're going, there's going to be another brother or sister who's in need of what we've experienced, so that we can help them get through. I see it all day, every day. If I could tell you guys the amount of phone calls and emails and text messages that I receive on a daily basis from people who I would never expect to reach out to me. They reach out with regards to, how do I handle this thing? And the only reason why I can speak to it the way I speak to it is because I've experienced it. And sometimes I don't always feel like I've made it to the top, or I know it all, but I can speak to the position and where they are because I did make it at that position, or I'm going through it and I'm just one step ahead. I'm just one step ahead. And so we have to trust ourselves that we do have the things, and we are equipped with the things to be able to overcome, equipped with the things to help us connect with one another in the ways in which we're supposed to connect. And we also have to be able to trust that we're going to get to the other side, right? That the pain that we are seeing and experience right now is only temporary. But when we take the mask off, when we take the cover off, when we become vulnerable and we open ourselves up to the unknown, we will be able to essentially heal. And I think that that's so important. I really appreciate you guys really coming in and walking with us today as we do this healing challenge. And we hope that you have embraced the healing challenge for yourselves. Please remember that it's still ongoing. We want to hear from you, your song, your creative ways in which you can remake Kelly Price's healing, song Healing. We want to hear it. We want to see it. We have a lot more. People have sent us a lot of stuff, so we apologize in advance if we have not posted those things up. We are getting to it. We are going to make sure that it is posted out there so that others can see your work, your beautiful art. And we want you to know that we do care about you. And we're here for you. Jackie, is there something else that you want to let the people know as we wrap up our conversation for today in the throne room?
You know, those of you with those old Southern grandmothers,
come on now.
Understand what I'm getting ready to say?
Come on now.
You know, I'm a grandma's girl. And I used to always hear the old church mothers and my grandmother say, come on through what you're going through. Come on through. And healing is a process that you have to go through to be whole. So I'm going to tell everybody that's listening under my voice, grow through it. Don't let it hold you back. Don't let it hinder you, but grow through it. Yes, it's gonna be painful. It's gonna be hard. But you know what? You've been through harder, tougher, worse before. Grow through it. Let it propel you forward. Don't let it hold you back. Don't let it hinder you. And when you look back on it, you'll realize how strong you always were.
Amen. That you use my words. So everybody say we go through things. No, we grow through things. So we want you to grow through it. We want you to see it as that thing in which the seed that is going to help you sprout through the ground, right? And even in that, there's another word in that. We ain't going to get started on that, Jackie, because as I said it, I was like, oh, there it is. It's another word. We're going to save that for next time. But we really appreciate each and every one of you. You have no idea how much love I have for everybody and all of the people who are here in the throne room, who have yet to meet and reach the throne room, but who need it. I really appreciate all of you for coming in. Please like and share. We have a goal, and I'll just set it out there. This is my transparency, right? There's a goal that I've been trying to reach. I want to reach 1,000 people, right? I want to be able to say we have 1,000 people who RMN has reached this year. So help us get to that. If this was something that you believe is going to be insightful and helpful for others, please share it, like it, encourage other people to like our page. There's so much more to come. We have a lot of conversations that are lined up with other people. There are a lot of things. We're looking to work on a great event for you guys post-COVID. So we are excited for what God is going to be doing here with us at the network. If you are looking for anyone to connect with, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. If you need any help or assistance, please let us know. If you are in need of a sister or brotherly connection, we're here with you. Jackie, I want to give you an opportunity to just leave out with any last words or any last requests, any last, guidelines, orders.
Orders. Wow, orders.
Give me orders.
I just want to share one quote with as you go through this process, this quote has helped me into stepping into greatness. There's a book that I've read by Dr. Mark Sharona called Stepping into Greatness, and it talks about the things you encounter on your way to your greatness, finding your greatness. I read this book about 5-6 times, but the quote says, "In pursuit of one's life's purpose, there comes a defining moment in the form of a refining crisis, setting one free from a confining limitation, thus empowering one to step into greatness." So you may be at that defining moment right now, or you may be in that refining crisis. But whatever you are on your journey, you are. And you have to see yourself as greatness. You have to see yourself as royalty. You have to see that you're worth what you're going through, the pain, the healing that you're going through, so that you can propel into the greatness that God has for you. So embrace the journey. Embrace the journey. We're here for you. We're here with you.
Yeah. Well, until next time, we'll meet you in the throne room. Remember, we've created this space for you to be able to purge from your issues, heal from your wounds, and find rest so that you might be able to walk into and transform into that which you have been created and called to become, which is royalty. We love you guys. Have a great day.